Hey, what's up, America? It's your favorite paisan, Johnny T. Yeah. Another episode of Wise Guys. Now, every single week, Karen and I hit the streets. We talk to people in all different states. And one of the reasons we do that is because we want to go where the cool kids are at. Yeah, whether we're in Texas, Nashville, Florida, New York, New Jersey, we're going where the news is at. And that's because we want your views to be the news. Now, this week we're in my favorite place, my hometown, New York City, and we're at a very special event for the New York Young Republican Club. If this thing of ours, the Republican Party and the MAGA movement, is going to continue, we need young people, strong people with energy. Tonight we're with the coolest kid of them all, the man himself. I saw your recent article you wrote for Newsmax about deep state operatives here in the U.S. who are actually working with the CCP and China. Many people say deep state. What is the deep state?
Listen, I think the deep state are these entrenched, unelected, no-name bureaucrats that have been, staffing the administration of state for decades. They're accountable to nobody. They have been serving through different administrations, and they are the primary reason why people like President Donald J. Trump had a hard time fully effectuating his America First agenda because they simply got the orders and they didn't follow the orders.
Who is the deep state to you?
I think it varies. Of course, George Soros is like the main guy in the deep state, but you have everyone in the Biden administration who's complicit, and then you have some dumb people in the Biden administration who are just puppets of the deep state. Right. And then you have rhinos like Liz Cheney, but gladly we've taken some of those out in the recent election. But it keeps changing. And then the problem is that some people get invested into the deep state. Maybe they were outsiders before, or they were benign before, and then all of a sudden they get roped into the clique.
To me, the deep state would be defined as the bureaucratic institutional interest and this, for lack of a better term, a Mandarin elite that has manifested itself in sort of an ideological sense that disregards the nation of what the people of the United States are.
The deep state is basically the unelected bureaucratic apparatus that sits underneath all of the elected officials, mainly the executive branch of the United States government. So it's all, the State Department, the CDC, the CIA, the DOJ, the FBI, all these people who are appointed to their seats and not elected, and therefore are unaccountable to the public in general. That is what we call the deep state.
I think the deep state is a number of people. I think the people who run it is people like George Soros and Charles Schwab with the World Economic Forum. The deep state is basically a bunch of rich globalists who try to control the population through these laws that they put in, that they pressure lawmakers to put in.
The deep state is a bunch of politicians regardless of party, and they network with people around the globe. It's more than just the deep state, it's a one-world government. That's what the goal is.
Just give me 5 names of people you think might be part of the deep state.
James Comey is easily somebody who's part of the deep state. So is Chris Wray. So is John Brennan. So is Dr. Fauci.
Klaus Schwab, George Soros, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens.
The Bush dynasty or the Clinton dynasty, Henry Kissinger.
Joe Biden, of course, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George Soros, Mitt Romney,
Elon Musk, SpaceX, and tech.
I look at Brennan, former CIA director, and I think he's one of the heads of this. Same thing with Clapper. You look at Comey, that connection there. I think right now Christopher Wray is certainly one of them.
The president of Ukraine is part of the deep state somehow. I think he gets so many favors. I would say Clinton Foundation, the deep state, and I would say, of course, our AOC.
A lot of people say politicians like Joe Biden and the Obamas are part of the deep state, but for me, they're not smart enough. I feel like somebody's running them. What do you think?
The deep state runs them because, as they say in D.C., presidents come and go. But CIA directors, FBI directors, they're there to stay through presidents. So who really has the power then when you think about it like that?
Now that the Republicans have control of the House, we have our new speaker in Kevin McCarthy, and we have control of all the committees. And many of the people in Congress now are saying they're going to form committees to look into the deep state.
Do you think that they should do an investigation into some of these quote-unquote deep state players like Joe Biden's son Hunter for his laptop?
Certainly. So I actually saw the Hunter laptop myself with Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and we went through some of the messages that Hunter Biden sent to his family. These messages have been shown so many times, they're public, but for some reason, the people who still share them around, like Mayor Giuliani, are deemed conspiracy theorists. They're getting shut down, and they're getting targeted by our federal government, which is now being weaponized by the deep state to target anyone who raises issues that are factual, that are about our corrupt leaders.
I'm happy to see a committee. I hope that they have more than just hearings. I want to see justice. And the First Amendment is one of the most precious things any people has ever been afforded in the history of the world. And they are actively taking it away from us.
If we're going to win back the trust of institutions like the FBI and the CIA, it's absolutely necessary, this committee. And I have a lot of faith knowing that Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio, Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida are the types that are going to be leading and executing the strategy on getting to the bottom of how deeply politicized our institutions are.
Do you think that there needs to be some investigations into these deep state entities?
Yes, but the problem is a lot of them are deep state. So it's kind of like the Bidens investigating themselves with classified files and dealings with China and the Ukraine.
5 different people that you think are part of the deep state.
George Santos. I'm sorry, Soros. My goodness. Yes.
I didn't want to correct that. I want to leave that in because that's funny. George Santos is hanging out with AOC. George Soros. That's good publicity.